Chapter 21. Echoes of Warriors Past. The Drixarian fleet, vast and formidable, continued its relentless pursuit of conquest. Among these ships, a remarkable vessel, ancient and shrouded in mystery, approached the smaller craft carrying Rook, Nakia, and Stacy. This elder ship, harboring conscripts from ages long past, moved to connect with the modern conscripts' vessel in a routine yet always awe-inspiring procedure. Aboard Rook's ship, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. The conscripts gathered in the departure area, accustomed to receiving newcomers from Earth, but this time an air of uncertainty lingered. They exchanged speculative whispers, wondering who their new comrades might be. As the ships aligned and the barrier between them slowly retracted, Rook, Nakia, and Stacy prepared to greet the latest additions to their interstellar battalion. The barrier's removal revealed a group standing across from them, clad in uniforms unlike any they had seen before. The new arrivals were strikingly robust, their physiques reflecting disciplined training and strength. Both men and women exuded an undeniable air of toughness and resilience, but it was their attire that caught everyone's immediate attention. They wore uniforms that were a fusion of ancient and alien design, unlike the standard gear of the modern conscripts. The newcomers' garments bore the unmistakable influence of classical warrior cultures. Their attire, while integrated with advanced materials, echoed the designs of ancient military garb. The men and women were adorned in tunics, some with elements resembling the red cloaks of Spartan warriors, while others sported breastplates that brought to mind the armor of Roman legionnaires. Yet, these historical elements were seamlessly blended with the Drixarian technology, creating a striking visual contrast. Amidst the astonishment, Nakia turned to Rook and Stacy, his expression that of intrigue and disbelief. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" he asked, his eyes still fixed on the group of ancient warriors. Rook shook his head, his curiosity piqued. "Never. Ship connections happen, but it's rare for conscripts to interact like this. And these look like they stepped right out of history." Stacy, observing the new arrivals with a journalist's keen eye, added, "It's like we're witnessing a page from a history book come to life. I never imagined the Drixarians could have pulled warriors from different times. How long have they been using us?" Another conscript, a tall man who had been quietly observing the scene, joined their conversation. "I heard rumors about them bringing in warriors from the past, but I always thought it was just that rumors. This is unbelievable." Rook nodded, his gaze still locked with the newcomers. "Look at their expressions. They seem just as surprised to see us as we are to see them. This must be their first interaction with modern conscripts." As they watched, the barrier between the two groups fully retracted, allowing the ancient and modern conscripts to cautiously approach each other. The initial hesitation soon gave way to a tentative exchange, bridging the vast expanse of time that separated them. "You think they've been in stasis all this time, or fighting in other wars?" Nakia wondered aloud, trying to fathom the lives of these warriors from a bygone era. "It's hard to say," Stacy replied, "but imagine the stories they could tell, the battles they've seen. This is more than just a merging of conscripts. It's a blending of histories." The tall conscript chimed in. "If the Drixarians are bringing in these ancient warriors, it must be afraid of something we haven't faced before." Rook nodded in agreement. "Whatever's coming, it's significant enough to blur the lines of time. We need to be prepared for what's next." The two groups began to interact more freely, sharing gestures and tentative smiles. A sense of unity started to form. Despite vast differences in their backgrounds, they were all warriors bound by a common fate, a fate that was now entwined in the Drixarians' galactic ambitions. This moment, a confluence of the past and present, marked a new chapter in the cosmic conflict. The addition of these ancient warriors to their ranks was not just a military strategy. It was a symbol of the Drixarians' far-reaching power and their willingness to manipulate history itself to achieve their goals. The Spartan and Roman conscripts, Rook learned, had spent several centuries in a galaxy where time moved at a different pace, making their experience far more extensive than their physical age would suggest. They had been recalled by the Drixarians only minutes ago in their time, which equated to months in Earth's time frame. This revelation further astounded the modern conscripts, highlighting complex manipulations of time and space throughout the many galaxies. Despite their ancient origins, the Spartan and Roman conscripts exhibited a level of discipline and combat prowess that was both formidable and deeply ingrained. Their bearing and demeanor spoke of centuries of warfare and strategic acumen, honed across countless battles in distant galaxies. In an extraordinary exchange, the two groups began sharing their experiences through memory transfers, a capability enabled by their Drixarian implants. These transfers allowed them to vividly experience each other's memories, bridging the gap between their worlds and times. For the modern conscripts, this was an opportunity to glimpse into the lives of warriors from Earth's history, to feel the adrenaline of ancient battles, the weight of armor and shield, and the camaraderie of fighting alongside fellow Spartans and Romans. They were enthralled by the tales of heroism, strategy, and valor that were now part of their shared collective memory. Similarly, the ancient warriors were fascinated by the memories of the modern world. They marveled at the advancements and changes that had occurred on Earth since their time, the transformation of landscapes, the evolution of technology, and the shifting tides of human society. Through this exchange, a profound respect and understanding developed between the two groups. They realized that despite the centuries separating them, their core values as soldiers, honor, bravery, and loyalty to each other remained unaltered. As the interaction continued, Rook, Nakia, and Stacy recognized that these ancient warriors, with their wealth of combat experience and time-honed skills, were a formidable addition to their ranks. However, they also knew that the Drixarians' decision to bring these warriors from such a time-distorted galaxy was a sign of the challenges that lay ahead. Whatever threat was looming on the horizon, it was significant enough to warrant such an unprecedented gathering of warriors across time. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. In a secluded corner of the ship, away from the mingling conscripts, Rook and Nakia engaged in a hushed conversation, their expressions grave. Rook glanced towards the ancient warriors, then back at Nakia. "We were planning to head back to Eridani 5th in the Krinis cluster, remember? Where Korra's group faced the first attack. But with these new additions..." His voice trailed off, uncertainty clouding his eyes. Nakia nodded, her thoughts mirroring Rook's. "We've been plotting to overthrow the Drixarians, especially after finding out about the drugs they harvest from us during battles. These new weapons we've, if acquired, could give us the edge we need." Rook rubbed his chin, deep in thought. "But what about these ancient conscripts? They're from a completely different era. Spartans and Romans. Their sense of duty, honor, warfare. It's all rooted in a time so different from ours. Do we tell them about our plan? About the drugs and our fight for freedom?" Nakia asked, her voice low. Rook hesitated, weighing their options. It's a risk. Their loyalty might still lie with the Drixarians. For all we know, they might view this as just another battle, another war to fight, no matter the cause. Nakia sighed, the weight of the decision evident in her posture. Right. Their concept of being a soldier, a warrior, it might be too ingrained. They lived in an age where fighting under a banner, any banner, was a matter of pride and honor. Rook looked back at the group of ancient warriors, observing their interactions with the modern conscripts. There's too much at stake. If our plan to overthrow the Drixarians is exposed prematurely, and they don't side with us, it could mean the end of everything we've worked for. Nakia nodded in agreement. We keep it to ourselves then. Until we can be sure, until we understand where their loyalties lie, we can't risk it. Their decision made, Rook and Nakia rejoined the others, their minds occupied with the challenging path ahead. The addition of the ancient warriors to their ranks had added a new layer of complexity to their struggle. As they prepared to return to the Krinis cluster, the uncertainty of their mission loomed large. Yet, their resolve to fight for their freedom, to end the Drixarians' reign, remained unshaken. With the lively exchange of stories and memories continuing between the two groups of conscripts, days passed while their ship traveled at sublight speed towards Eridani 5. The large departure area buzzed with activity as the conscripts, invigorated by their Drixarian tech that negated the need for sleep when needed, engaged in endless conversations and memory sharing. When the alert came to prepare for battle, a strong shift in energy swept through the area. Both groups, ancient and modern, quickly formed up in their respective formations. The modern conscripts, including Rook, Nakia, and Stacy, generated their armor, helmets, and armed themselves with rifles and machine guns, the familiar weight and feel of the weapons bringing a sense of readiness. Stacy, glancing over to the ancient conscripts, watched in astonishment as they too readied themselves for battle. With a thunderous roar that echoed through the chamber, their weapons materialized. Instead of guns, they were armed with swords, spears, and bows. "They have swords?" Stacy exclaimed in disbelief, her eyes wide as she took in the sight of the ancient warriors, now fully equipped for battle. Nakia, equally surprised, nodded. "Looks like they do. Spears and bows, too. It's like something out of an epic movie." Rook, observing the ancient warriors, added thoughtfully, "It makes sense in a way. They're warriors from a time when swords and spears were the weapons of choice. I guess the Drixarians let them keep their preferred arms. But how effective will they be?" Stacy wondered aloud. "We're going into a battle that's light years away from anything they've known." Rook looked at the Spartans and Romans, their faces set with readiness. "I wouldn't underestimate them. They might not have our firearms, but they've got centuries of combat experience. And who knows what enhancements the Drixarians have added to those weapons." Nakia nodded in agreement. "Plus, they've seen battle in other galaxies, remember? They might surprise us yet." As they continued to watch, the ancient warriors practiced maneuvers with their swords and spears, their movements fluid and precise, a testament to their skill in the timeless art of warfare. Before they could discuss further, the order came to commence the attack. The modern conscripts checked their weapons one last time, while the ancient warriors tightened their grips on their swords and spears. The two groups, though armed differently, stood united in their goal, to fight and survive the battle that awaited them on Eridani 4. With a final glance at each other, the conscripts braced themselves. The ship's portals began to open, revealing the unknown challenges of the battle ahead. The moment of truth had arrived, and together they stepped forward into the fray.